Sometimes the load gets heavy and the road is too rough to ride. The cold wind moans, rattles my bones. There's not a shelter inside. Just as my hands start to tremble and I feel like I'm lost on my own, I remember the words as a child I once heard: never travel alone on the wings of an angel. We lightly touch down here for a moment, then heavenly bound, where the sweet Father welcomes us home, and the wings of an angel become our own. This world's not my home forever. It's only a stop on the way. Before very long, I'll hear the sweet song. An angel will take me away. Oh, but I won't be sad and leave here. Though I'm leaving my family and friends, you might be apart, but I know in my heart we'll soon be together again on the wings of an angel. We lightly touch down here for a moment, then heavenly bound, where the sweet Father welcomes us home, and the wings of an angel become our own, and the wings of an angel become our own.
Welcome. The old-time country gospel music playing prior to the service was music that Thelma enjoyed listening to. And it was neat that we listened to that one on the wings of a snow white dove. And it gives us that image of her being taken from this life to the next. Throughout our service, we're going to have the pleasure of seeing some images up on the screen of Thelma, Earl, her family, and friends, flashing on the screen to remind us of their lives together and their influence that they had on ours. For those on live stream, you're not going to see that, but at the end of the service, we'll make sure that that slideshow plays through, so if you wanted to stay on afterwards to watch that. Here, we gather as a family to support each other with our love and understanding as we mourn the loss of a wonderful woman. We are also joined, as I said, with the people on the live feed who I know send their well wishes and prayers to you in this time of need. And the family appreciates all that are in attendance, either here physically or online, to help celebrate Thelma's life. There are no words to describe what you're feeling at this time, and no comfort that can be given to take away the pain of losing a loved one. Each of our pain is different, so we must allow each other to grieve in our own way. During this time of reflection, don't be afraid to laugh, and don't be afraid to cry. This is a safe place for all of us to grieve and honor Thelma's memory. I ask you to say your own prayers and goodbyes for Thelma as I share a poem entitled A Fallen Limb. A limb has fallen from the family tree. I keep hearing a voice that says, "Grieve not for me. Remember the best times, the laughter, the song, the good life I lived while I was strong. Continue my heritage, I'm counting on you. Keep smiling and surely the sun will shine through. My mind is at ease, my soul is at rest. Remember all, how truly I was blessed. Continue traditions, no matter how small. Go on with your life. Don't worry about falls. I miss you all dearly, so keep up your chin until the day comes when we're together again." Even though a limb has fallen from the family tree, let us remember the best times, the laughter. Let us reminisce and think about Thelma. We were blessed to have had her in our lives, and she showed us how to live life. And with that poem, I think those might be words that she would speak to you today. Thelma was born on the family farm near Horsham, Saskatchewan. She loved music. She loved dancing. Even during one of her lunch times, Sally Schaefer taught Thelma how to do the polka. Thelma's brother bought her a guitar, and she became a wonderful self-taught player. And while she was young, she was even active in baseball. Now, a couple of the stories that Thelma told her family about growing up was when she was fairly young, there was a time when her mom was busy cooking for the threshing crew, and Thelma fell asleep under one of the benches. When Thelma woke up, it was dark outside, and that's when she'd realized that her mom had forgotten her there in all of the chaos. The other memory was of Thelma's family going out to the fields to pick up fuel to fire and keep the house warm, picking up cow chips, because there was no trees for miles around. What a way to heat your house. Very inventive. Thelma went to the Green Corn School for 9 years and then went off to Maple Creek to finish her high school. And Thelma then spent a couple months at the Moose Jaw Normal School where she got her certification in teaching. Thelma's final posting was at the Mueller School where she taught for about a year and a half. During this time, Thelma showed her giving heart as she would cook up chicken noodle soup for the children she taught so they could have a hot meal. Thelma may have continued teaching at that school for many more years to come if it wasn't for one good-looking man who came to meet the new teacher. After meeting the new arrival, Earl saw something wonderful in the new teacher and asked Thelma out to the roundup dance in Greyburn. It must have went well, because on December 29th, 1950, at St. Paul's Lutheran Church here in Medicine Hat, they tied the knot. They had the supper at his folks' place and a dance in Irvine to celebrate. And as you've heard before, they then spent their honeymoon feeding cows. The Sutherland place became Earl and Thelma's permanent home after their marriage, and they started the family with the arrival of two wonderful daughters, Deborah and Lori. When Deborah asked her mom what her occupation was, Thelma answered, "Ranched east of Walsh." That's it. But in theory, we know that Thelma was much more. She was a housewife, she was a homemaker, she was a mother, she was a gardener, she was a farmer, she was a field hand, she was a cook, she was a truck driver, she was a baker, and she was a fisherman. And later in life, she actually threw in chauffeur. And through it all, Thelma did it with enthusiasm, dedication, and definitely hard work. Fishing and camping trips to the mountains and Cypress Hills was something that family looked forward to, as were the short trips out to the hills for lunches and barbecues. Then, just before school started, with the combining done in August, the family would head off to Banff or BC to enjoy camping with each other out there. Now, back on the farm, Thelma worked hard, always seemed busy doing something, like shucking a 5-gallon pail of peas, baking pies for Earl a couple times a week, making kuchen for the family and neighbors, or playing hostess to the company that were invited over for supper on the weekends. Thelma was always in motion, and her hands were always busy. That's just what she did. And if Thelma was coming over for a visit, you could be assured that she would never come empty-handed, bringing over cookies or muffins to share. Oh, these were in the freezer. They're going to go bad. Let's eat them up. And when it came to brandings, Thelma would cook 3 meals, 3 full meals for the whole branding crew of family and friends throughout the day. And that night, when the party started, she'd be right there with them. Earl and Thelma ranched until 1983 and then semi-retired here to Medicine Hat. Earl continued to farm, with him and Thelma spending summers living out of the RV on the land. Thelma was lucky enough to have to stay around the RV all day, while Earl got to sit in the air-conditioned tractor all day. As Laurie wrote, their hearts always remained in the country, phoning or driving out to see how much rain had fallen or to see how things were going. They spent many days fishing and enjoying the scenery at Reeser Lake and Elkwater. Throughout their lifetime, Thelma and Earl enjoyed a friendly game of cards with family and friends. Thelma kept her hands busy with crocheting and knitting, and even though she didn't like to sew, she taught Deborah how. When they moved to town, Thelma even took up baseball again and added bowling to the mix for a few years just to keep active. And with the grandkids came a new set of adventures, with Thelma supporting all of their activities at 4-H and, of course, watching Jason play hockey. Thelma was very supportive of her grandkids. As Thelma got older, she didn't slow down. Up until a few years ago, she was still driving her and Earl everywhere, especially to the fishing spots like Acadia Valley. She was still cooking, she was still baking, and her hands were always active. And that's why the family selected my mother's hands to be placed on the back of the card. Inside the card, you'll see that. Mothers, it is said, hold their children's hands for a short while, but their hearts forever. So keep her here. So many stories, so many memories, and it's tough to wrap up over 90 years of someone's life into a short time here together. But hopefully we've given you pause or food for thought, and some of those memories resonate in you. Thelma's loving hands had so much to do with what made her special to us. We know that Thelma Good will be missed, but she will never truly be gone if she's remembered in your hearts and in your minds. So think of Thelma, talk about her, and fondly remember those times that she touched your heart in some way. Stories about Thelma are appreciated, so please share these with each other afterwards or in the days or weeks to come. For the people that are online, hopefully they'll make comments on the YouTube video so you can read those later, or go to the obituary page and on the condolence page, sign in some memories. I'd like to thank all of you who've joined us today to share in this celebration of Thelma's life, either here or through our live streaming. As for us, we're headed to the Hillside Cemetery immediately following this service. So thank you once again for spending time here to honor Thelma and celebrate her life. As we prepare to go, I'd like to offer up another poem. It's called Legacy of Love, as her final prayer to Thelma. Legacy of Love. A wife, a mother, a grandma too, this is the legacy we have from you. You taught us love and how to fight. You gave us strength. You gave us might. A stronger person would be hard to find, and in your heart you were always kind. You fought for all of us in one way or another, not just as a wife, not just as a mother. For all of us you gave your best. Now the time has come for you to rest. So go in peace. You've earned your sleep. Your love in our hearts will eternally keep. Amen. I'd like you to say your own prayers and goodbyes for Thelma and for her family as we share the song, Will the Circle Be Unbroken, by Mother Maybell and the Carter family.
I was standing by my window on one cold, cloudy day when I saw that hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a letter on the wedding in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Well, I followed close behind her. I
What would you do? What would you do if Jesus came to spend some time with you? If Jesus came to your house to spend a day or two, if he came unexpectedly, I wonder what you'd do. When you saw him coming, would you meet him at the door with arms outstretched in welcome to your heavenly visitor? Or would you need to change some things before you let him in? Like maybe burn some magazines and put the Bible where they'd been. Oh, I know that you'd give your nicest room to such an honored guest, and all the food that you would serve to him would be the very best. And you'd keep assuring him that you were glad to have him there, that serving him in your home was joy beyond compare. But would your family conversation keep up its normal pace? And would you find it hard each meal to say a table grace? Would you be glad to have him meet your very closest friends? Or would you hope that they stayed away until his visit ends? Would you take him with you everywhere that you'd planned to go? Or maybe change your plans just for a day or so? Would you be glad to have him stay forever, on and on? Or would you sigh with great relief when finally he had gone? You know, it might be interesting to know the things that you'd do if Jesus came in person to spend some time with you. What would you do? What would you do if Jesus came to spend some time with you?
When my soul was disturbed with sorrow, when my heart was burdened with sin, Jesus opened his arms of mercy and tenderly took me in. There are storms that we all encounter. Do not fear, they will do you no harm. In the Lord you will find protection. In the shelter of his arms, there is peace in the time of trouble. There is peace in the midst of a storm. There is peace, oh the world be raging in the shelter